was My Little Pony, My Little Pony.
Just because I may present more femme doesn't mean that I'm any less they, them.
My family and I were doing that one night, and I just kind of looked at them and said, hey guys, I'm non-binary. I don't have a gender.
In my opinion, gender is a universe. It is a broad spectrum of planets and stars and sky that truly cannot be contained into a binary.
My pronouns are they, them, theirs, and that's a non-negotiable. And they were all kind of like, okay, misgendering a trans person is an act of violence. And it is. It's an act of psychological violence. It's a denial of somebody's personhood and a complete refusal to acknowledge their identity, whether intentional or not.
So many different options for who you are and how to define that. So when someone chooses a personal pronoun that they identify with, using that pronoun is a form of respect and a form of validation that, yes, this is your rightful identity, and I will respect that.
The first thing that I notice is how people react to tragedies around the world. When there was those bombings in Paris and Manchester, American and Canadian citizens, they changed their profile pictures to the red, white, blue filter to show their support. But when innocent black people die in America every day, nobody treats them with the same respect. The black children that go missing don't even get as much news coverage as, like if a little white girl went missing. It just seems apparent to me that people of all races seem to value white lives over everybody else's. And the news and the media really love to dehumanize anybody that's not white.
So we're going to talk about something that I've covered quite a bit on this channel, but I haven't covered this particular area yet, so I'm going to go into that today. I just want to talk about labels and how not every label is permanent. Just because someone says they're, bisexual doesn't mean that they have to stay bisexual for the rest of their life. It doesn't mean that their sexuality remains stagnant. I know you've probably heard it a million times before, but sexuality is completely fluid. So is your gender identity. You don't have to stay the same thing forever. Some people are born and they think, okay, I'm like this, and they stay that way their entire life. And that's fine. More power to them. But not everyone is like that. Some people need to take a little time to get to know themselves and to understand their sexuality. I know it took me forever and I'm still not completely there. There's moments when I'm not sure if I really am the labels that I put on myself, but that's okay because I have friends who support me and I have friends who won't turn around and be like, oh, you were just faking being gay, you were just faking being bisexual, you were just faking being asexual. Just because someone changes their label doesn't mean that they were faking it or they were lying to you.
It is why are black women dying faster and at higher rates than any other group of people in America from preventable obesity-related diseases.
So the question that you're all asking yourselves right now is why? Why are black women dying? We asked ourselves that same question. Why is what's out there not working for them? Private weight loss companies, government interventions, public health campaigns. I'm going to tell you why. The trauma that black women hold in our bellies and bones, that has been embedded in our very DNA. The best advice from hospitals and doctors, the best medications from pharmaceutical companies to treat the congested heart failure of my grandmother didn't work because they didn't acknowledge the systemic racism that she had dealt with since birth. A crack cocaine epidemic, mass incarceration, putting more black bodies behind bars than were owned at the height of slavery, but Girl Trek does. For black women whose bodies are buckling under the weight of systems never designed to support them, Girl Trek is a lifeline.
We studied these systems of change and we looked at walking scientifically. And what we learned is that walking just 30 minutes a day can single-handedly decrease all of your, or 50% of your risk of diabetes, heart disease, stroke, even Alzheimer and dementia. We know that walking is the single most powerful thing that a woman can do for her health.
Did you happen to notice these little gems peppered around his place? Why are there 3 random Buddhas and an Om symbol? Is Wes Anderson about to shoot a movie there? Sound therapy has nothing to do with Buddhism or Hinduism. This happens a lot, so I'm just going to come out and say it. White people, I love you. But stop using Asian wallpaper for street cred. I see what you're doing, and it's stupid. Look, I get it, white people. It's hard selling incense without weed. So you say it's magic and that it cures gout, and for good measure you throw in a Ganesh statue just to give it this ancient wisdom-y feel. Suddenly business is booming. It's actually the oldest trick in the book. Half nonsense, half Indian. It's called the Deepak Chopra. Then again, it's not entirely your fault, white people, which is why I want to say something to my fellow Asians. Asians, lend me your ears. Stop convincing white people it is real. This is as much on you as it is on them. You know how gullible they are. You know they just want to fit in. Look, I know, we all had a lot of fun watching white people get Chinese tramp stamps throughout the 2000s. But this is different. Look what they've done to yoga. Yoga was badass. Yoga is actually good for you, but white people got their Lululemon hands on it and turned it into the smooth jazz of the fitness world. Can't we just come to a ceasefire? Asians, stop selling unregulated remedies with no scientific basis. And white people, stop using Asian culture to sell unregulated remedies with no scientific proof.
It was mine.